Percy, Maida, and Steven had planned a exciting field trip to the Central Park Museum as part of their college trip. Although initially excited, their day would soon turn into a nightmare. While they were exploring the exhibits, Percy felt a strange presence and a cold gaze that followed him throughout the room. He didn't pay any attention to it since he couldn't see what was looking at him, so he continued with his spectacular day with her friends. Walking through the museum, they arrived at the exhibition room of Greek mythology, in which a statue of Poseidon, the god of the sea, was enormously located. At that moment, Percy felt a chill that ran up his back, causing him a little uneasiness to see that statue because he had found what was watching him a few minutes ago. Myra noticed something strange about Percy, but she didn't see him worried enough to ask him what was wrong. So she continued marveling at the objects she see as around the museum, taking photos, videos, and uploading stories on Instagram.
Hey, Percy, friend. How are you? What are you doing here at the museum?
A college who had not seen Percy in a long time exclaimed in a happy voice.
Ah, hey Grover, what else? I'm fine, and you're Grover. I came with my friends on an excursion to the museum. We wanted to plan a visit to the museum with my friends as part of the excursion we have at the university. Everything it's incredible, and you're Grover, what are you doing here? Weren't you supposed to apply to a university in Paris?
Percy answers with some questions that are a bit of a joke.
Well, the truth is, I didn't apply because when I finished high school I saw that I wouldn't be able to enter those universities due to my poor academic performance and well, it was better that I started working here at the museum with the help of a friend. His father is the owner of this museum and I'm lucky that he likes me and he gave me a job as a museum guide. It's great. You know a lot of history and mysteries from many years ago.
How incredible, Grover, because you love mysteries and ancient stories, the job suits you perfectly. I'm happy for you, I'm glad you like it, I hope you enjoy this museum, I'll come with my friends later, see you.
For Percy, meeting Grover caused her a bit of calm and peace because he had someone he knew who could help him if something strange happened inside the museum, specifically in a Greek session where he felt that chill. He walked for a while, avoiding looking at the statue of Poseidon so as not to feel so bullied, being with Maida since Percy is a little in love with Maida and doesn't want to appear scared in front of her. Steven is so excited that he is taking photos of everything and then showing them to Percy and Maida. When they got home, they continued the tour of when they left the Greek session. Percy felt relieved because he no longer had to avoid eye contact with the statue. When it was time to go home, Percy turned to look at the statue. At that moment, Percy's blood ran cold when he saw that the statue's eyes were open and blue. They were completely closed. Percy did not hesitate to run out and wait for them outside. The fear that ran through Percy's body was so great that he did not notice the bit of a mosquito on his exposed neck. This mosquito had come out of the eyes of the statue of possessed bee, giving Percy a small but effective drop of a Poseidon that would cause Percy to fall into a deep sleep after a while. When night came, Percy began to feel uncomfortable in his room, as if something was watching him. The room filled with cold, damp air, and a whispering voice called out to him from the depths of his mind. His friends, concerned about his attitude in the museum, wanted to go and ask him if he was okay or if something had happened to him. Upon entering his room, they found Percy lying on the floor, fast asleep. Maida tried to wake him up, but Percy was unresponsive. Suddenly, an ice wind filled the room and everything became dark. Percy woke up in the terrified world, a dream that seemed real, but was filled with nightmares. Poseidon, the god of the sea, appeared before him with the imposing presence of him. He let out a terrified laugh.
You have dared to interrupt my peace, and now you will be trapped in this nightmare of my making for a long time.
Logging heavily as lightning streaks behind him.
Mr. Poseidon, I don't know what I have done to you to torment you in your tranquility on Olympus or wherever you were. Forgive me for interrupting you, although I still don't understand how I interrupted you. If you try, sir, to tell me how I tormented you, I won't do it anymore. I will do it again so that your majesty is at peace.
Suddenly, Poseidon gets angry for not finding the answer since the god only caught him for fun, and that was his excuse to catch Percy. He took a step to transform into a disastrous river that dragged Percy towards a mysterious lake. While in the real world, Percy's friends, worrying about her conscious state, decided to enter her nightmare through some pearls that the goddess Persephone gave that as an offering for having saved her from the morbid hands of Poseidon. Upon entering the dream, they found themselves dropped in the world in which everything was disproportionate. As this world was like this, they were under a spell and turned into tiny insects. Maida turning into a butterfly, and Steven remained like a beetle. The two confused did not where Percy was and where in this world she could be. Maida quickly grabbed Stephen with her butterfly bushes and lifted him off the ground to go in search of Percy. They didn't know that the possessed god was perching them through the waters. They spent minutes flying looking for Percy, and in moments Maida had to go down to rescue. Stephen searched for Percy's energy with Persephone's pearls, but they found no sign of him. Poseidon, enjoying his game, mocked them and using his power to keep them in the state. However, Percy refused to give up. She fought against the powerful god to protect her friends from the evil of Poseidon, receiving some scratches from the edge of the trident.
Why do you play with them like that? They just came to look for me, leave them alone.
They came here because they wanted to. I can't let them come in just because. Do you understand, Percy? It is something that we, the gods of Olympus, never let pass. They will remain here forever while I slowly tire and torture them.
Percy felt helpless, but he didn't give up on anything. He wanted to save his friend at any cost, and himself, but he saw the saving part as complicated. Suddenly a bright light was seen from his arm. Percy stood up the sleeve of his arm, observing that the mark of a trident came out of his skin, realizing that there is a demigod engendered by Poseidon, wondering at thousand this at once. Poseidon's trident began to vibrate like he had never seen before. With each vibration, the trident became smaller and smaller until it was the size of Persy. This surprised the god when he saw himself in danger, but he was still not done playing dirty. He called the nymph to attack Persy from behind. He had the opportunity to react and defend himself from the blows that the nymph caused him. After a few minutes, Percy seemed not to react, but in the distance, Myra and Steven emerged from the strange plant. A few minutes ago, Myra and Steven, while flying, saw some flashes of light in the distance and wanted to go check that they were. When they arrived, they were happy to see that it was Percy and he was still alive. They stayed hidden in some branches of a strange plant. Behind Percy there was a lake from which the two nymphs emerged, who attacked Percy. Myra approached Percy while Steven distracted Poseidon, so Mary could check in Percy and make him wake up. It took him a few short seconds to react. Poseidon managed to see Percy get up, but without any scratch. Since he was close to the water, inhaled Percy's wounds as he was a damaged who is a descendant of a water god. This made him angry. Poseidon a lot, but he was unarmed, so he chose to flood the place and defeat them again. But this time Myra would get caught in Percy's shirt. Steven behind from them was the only one who separated from the group, becoming last alone. This caused him too much fear.
Persy, what a joy to find you. Thanks to Zeus you are alive. What did you do to Poseidon to make him kill you or try to kill you?
Myra asked happily, a little scared by everything that happened.
I didn't do anything to him, he just went out to wreak havoc, and unfortunately he set his eyes on me, but I'm fine, apparently I'm one of his descendants. After all, where was Steven?
Percy answers somewhat worried.
He was after me, wait. He was distracting Poseidon. I think when he flooded the place Steven went the other way. I lost him.
They started looking for Steven but couldn't find him. But in a sudden moment, Myra returned to his human body. They hope that Steven has also returned to his human form. After a long search, they finally find Steven, but even in insect form. This worries them since the spell must have already ended when Myra returned to normal. Poseidon claws still has Steven under the spell. This caused them a lot of anger, and with one of Persephone's pearls, they transport themselves to where Poseidon was. This upset Poseidon. He did not want to be embarrassed in front of the other gods. Poseidon spoke to Persy mentally to tell them that if they let themselves be locked in the cage, he promised to free them as soon as the other gods left the room, since they were in the meeting room of Olympus. Persy, without thinking twice, said no, and with her own spell she looked at Poseidon before the eyes of the other gods. They were astonished at what happened and ran, since the only one who can lock them up is her father Kronos. At the moment Poseidon falls, the spell that surrounds Steven dissolves and leaves Steven free. Persy, leaving Poseidon, looked up gives him a small sermon where one of his phrases was, "Not all of us are like you and others, without imagining it will tell you. They will overcome like I did, and thus they use the last pill to get out of this dream kingdom." Everyone wakes up in Percy's room, assuming that they defeat Poseidon's nightmare.